Join me for my very boring story, if you will. I want to tell you about the one time that I met the most electrifying man in the art world. The one and only chance that I had to meet Jung Gi. The year is 2015. I and the Stray Dogs were just really finally getting traction in the industry. We'd all been working for a little while now, and we learned about CTNX, the largest industry animation event in North America. Somewhat a Hollywood Walk of Fame through an animation lens. Steve Ahn and LaShawn Thomas were there. Eric Goldberg and Sergio Pablos were doing demos. It was crazy. We all bit the bullet and headed out there that November to Los Angeles. The event was hype and we were in for 3 days of geekiness. But pro geekiness. Couldn't embarrass ourselves out here, On the first night, we were just pulling up near the entrance and a very solid Asian man was picking up boxes out of a car. I turned to Giuseppe and said, "Yo, I think that's the man himself. I think that's Jung Gi." With what little composure we had, we didn't interrupt him. He was clearly busy. Don't be that guy, And so prep day finishes and Friday arrives and we're having loads of fun. The event is already dope enough. We're meeting all these strangers and hanging out with artists that we don't even know. We're all on the same sort of journey and stuff, and that's when it happens. Waiting for the elevator were 3 people, and in that group of 3 stood out Jung Gi. Forgive me for rhyming. We all sort of just stared at his magnificent bald head, almost like if we looked hard enough, we'd be able to steal the ancient knowledge he gained in his lifetime. And at that very moment, my good friend Mike Chung did the unthinkable. He had the audacity to shake his hand. Mike, no, stop. We are unworthy. We are unprepared to meet this man. No, I'm doing it. Shing. And so he went. For the last time. No, I'm just kidding. No, but really though, he was audacious enough to walk right up to him and get the handshake of a lifetime. He shook his hand for what must have felt like a week, to be honest. He returned a changed man. A corrupted man, one would say. I would say, in fact. And that's because as the event came to a close and we all returned to Toronto, Mike informed me of a shocking truth. Nas, after shaking Jung Gi's hand, my hand, it started to melt. Mike's hand was peeling from the center. And what's funny is that it was on the other hand. Almost like that scene in Bloodsport where Van Damme slams the brick, but the bottom one explodes. Jung Gi sent an artistic shockwave through Mike's body and destroyed the other hand. Almost as if to say, I've spared your drawing hand. Don't waste it. Shing! So you're telling me the whole story is that you went to LA with your friends and your friend got a handshake? Mostly. But there's more to it. Towards the last day, Jung Gi was giving a lecture. We got to see him live, we got to see him do drawings, take requests, see what he does during artist block. And then finally, he made his way into the rest of the convention where we got to see him at his table. And we all know what a Jung Gi table looks like. Person after person just lined up, childishly giddy, to get a sketch drawn in their books. And that's where I learned the secret. The Jung Gi ultra secret that would turn me into the greatest artist I could be. One thing that everyone always talks about is how fast Jung Gi is at drawing. Yeah, everyone in that crowd was just staring at the drawing he was doing in those books. They're looking at the monitors of the projection of his drawings and they're just completely in shock. And I looked around and I think I was the only person who was actually looking at him instead of the drawing he was doing. And I realized at that moment that he wasn't drawing fast. He was drawing slow. He was taking his time. just wouldn't make a single mistake. He knew when to be thin and thick, when to be fast, and just to pause and just take a look at the drawing. And what I gathered was he would never rush. He would sit there and just enjoy it. He'd take all the time he'd love to, and it shows. All that great focus and slow drawing adds up to only really a few seconds in our mortal time. It's crazy. Through the speed of his brushstrokes, I could see the sheer enjoyment he had for his craft. Where he'd spend time making a stroke thicker by just waiting a bit, or by moving the brush across such large areas. It was simply intoxicating. And that was it. The great secret of Jung Gi to become the ultimate version of an artist that any artist could be. And that is, you must profoundly and sincerely enjoy what you do to improve your skills and withstand the amount of hard work and raw hours it takes to become you, Mark II. And so that's the real boring story. That I went to CTN with my friends, my buddy had his hand destroyed and one spared, and that I got to witness for just a single moment the most electrifying man to have ever graced the art world. I was always in awe of his work, just the parades that he would draw. It was absolutely breathtaking, and I think at that moment I was in awe of him. I realized that this is the kind of person I want to be like. An infectiously energetic, friendly, and really joyful man. I'm sure that's also the recipe to be a good husband, brother, son, father, and friend. I'll never forget this incredibly small encounter that so profoundly changed my life. Getting to see behind the veil for just a second the man at work in his element, just creating masterpieces for everyone to enjoy, and especially me. So I'd just like to say thank you, Master Kim, and goodbye.